If we go back to the European Convention, worked out in the late 40s, and with Britain itself being the first power to ratify it in 1951, it's fascinating looking, and I don't know whether you've done this either, at the actual comments of contemporaries on it. I mean, we're always told it's the work of Churchill. And shouldn't conservatives be ashamed of themselves for repudiating the work of this great man? Well, I bothered to go and check in the authorized biography, the multitudinous volumes of Gilbert's biography of Churchill. There is about half a paragraph on the subject. It was one of the many things he kicked around whilst he was in opposition without very much else to do, frankly. And it's there's no record of Churchill commenting on the final draft or anything like that. But what is interesting, there's abundant comment from the Labour Lord Chancellor of the time. This is the Lord Chancellor in the Attlee government. And Anna, it is completely fascinating. He makes no reference to Jeremy Bentham. I don't imagine he'd ever read him. But his comments are astonishingly, again, prophetic. What does this great Labour lawyer say? This is the worst drafted document I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
The words are used so loosely, he says, that the most amateur lawyer could make it mean whatever he wanted it to mean. He then goes on and says that this is, he said, and very interesting, he says, this is a reversion to primitive methods of law, like the old rule, if you may remember the joke in Chancery jurisdiction, that Chancery law varied with the length of the Chancellor's foot. And he actually cites that. And there is this extraordinary attack on this thing. This is what he says simply is it's a ludicrous document. He points out extraordinary inconsistencies with common law and all the rest of it. So that's one really interesting thing about it. The other interesting thing is the Labour government's final decision to sign up to this document. And there's a wonderful documentary record of all of this. And it goes like this. There is a committee, of course, headed by within the Foreign Office, which is effectively looking at this. The Council of Europe is meeting, I think, in an inaugural meeting with this on the agenda. Well, we don't, but we've got to sign it because it would look bad if we don't. That's what they actually say. And then still worse, they go through it and say, well, actually, yes, the Lord Chancellor is right. There are many points here which are inimical, are hostile to common law positions. However, we don't think we need to worry about this very much because the document is largely symbolic and we don't think any of it will be taken very seriously. The sheer frivolity.
Yeah.
This constant thing that we see with Britain, it's the characteristic of the British position right from 45 onwards. Oh, we've got to show the way by being an international good boy.
Yes, vanity is something, Bentham.
It's a huge post-colonial vanity. That it's this idea that we've created a new rules-bound, marvelous world that's going to make absolutely sure there's no third world war, and we will be recognized as the great law-giving power and whatever. But in doing it, you subscribe to a vision of law which is completely the opposite of common law. It is this series of gigantic abstract principles.
And it had to be an Englishman that made that point, not just because the common law is English, but because the Universal Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, and particularly the rights of man, which Bentham hones in on very, very quickly, right at the outset of his essay, is to proclaim the law of France as the law of the world. And it's an Englishman who takes particular exception to that. And he says something like the total subjection of every government to the French government is basically the remit of the declaration.
Precisely.
Imperialism there.
It's the imperialism of rights.